right, Panther fans. Here we go. The start of year 9. Year 9 of this channel. And finally, we get to start off by asking the question, can we repeat as Stanley Cup champions? Can we get to the Stanley Cup Finals 3 years in a row? I don't know anybody that really would have thought that question was a very viable, possible question not that long ago. But here we are. Here we are. Now, I was thinking about doing an NHL preview, and then I said, you know what? I already know what I'm going to say in the Panthers season preview, so let's just do that, because that kind of is my NHL season preview. You'll understand as we go along. Now, as I looked at the roster over the last few weeks, you ever have something that you kind of look at and you're like, I know I'm missing something. There's something here I'm missing, because you're looking at it and you're like, well, that box is checked and that box is checked and this looks good and you're looking at it and you're like, there's got to be something I'm missing. And I don't think so. So we'll go over it here a little bit, and then I'll talk about what I think might happen. Now, 2 years ago, I stood over here. I stood in this room and I said, Panthers are going to start slow, get better as they go, and win the cup. And damn it. Oh, that would have been so, it didn't happen. But it was close. Then last year, I kind of stood over here, and I thought, you know, I'm not so sure. I kind of thought the Canes were going to take a step up. They took a step back. And I did not predict that we were going to be winning the Stanley Cup. And I kind of figured, well, I predicted we were going to win the Cup, and we didn't. So I won't do that. And then we did win. So we're even. We're 1-1. Now, in terms of this team this year, as I look at all of it, I got it all mapped out, and I looked at it, and I'm like, here we go. When you look at the forward group, the top 8 of the top 9 are basically locked in stone, right? The only kind of half-assed question we have is if Mackie Samoskevich is going to take that spot on the third line next to Lundell and Luosterainen. Considering what Maurice has said and how Samoskevich looked last year, I would kind of be really surprised if that did not happen. I believe that is his spot to lose. So when I look at the top 9, and we'll get to the fourth line, but when I look at the top 9, you're going to have one new guy, right? You're going to have one new guy. And Samoskevich, should he get that spot, has one job on that line, which is don't screw it up. That's the only job he has, is basically take your defensive responsibilities serious, do that first, and then if you can manage to chip in with, 10 goals, 20 assists, even that might be a little bit high, but we're not needing a lot of offense from that spot. The other thing that might do is now you're talking about Anton Lundell being in his 4th season. He's got a nice deal in place, and so now he can begin to take on a little bit more of the veteran role. Even though he's still a young player, he's now going to be the leader, the veteran of that line, as opposed to many times maybe when Reinhart was on that line and it would have been Lundell asking Reinhart questions. Now it will be Samoskevich asking Lundell questions as somebody uses the bathroom upstairs. It's the basement. I can't help it. So, in terms of the top 9 being championship caliber, It is, unless it isn't, and then it shall be again. So what do I mean? The top 9 is the same, except we're going to plug in Samoskevich. If we get to, he's got basically 5 months. If we get to February and Zito and Maurice kind of look at each other like we might need to make a move here and bring in somebody else, and because they don't feel like Samoskevich is completely ready to be a championship caliber player on that line, you send Mackie back down, you make a move at trade deadline, and you get somebody. Or maybe Mackie stays up but loses his job. I'm not saying I want that to happen. I'm not saying that will happen. I'm saying that if it needs to happen, I have confidence in Zito to make it happen. Now, when you get to the 4th line, everybody except me and Brother Gene is on the roster. I mean, we have a plethora of fourth line guys. So many guys that there's so many names that we forgot about, right? Everybody's talking about Nosek and Boquist and Entwistle and Greer, and we forget Gadjevich and Lockwood are still on the team. You know what I mean? I mean, for all of the new guys that have been here, we might start off with Nosek, Gadjevich, and Lockwood. I don't know if that's how it's going to work out. The good part is that we have enough roster space to keep the majority of the people that we would want. Obviously, we can't keep everybody, but in terms of that fourth line, the only difference this year is in years past, whether it was Okposo last year or Stahl the year before, we had a guy on the fourth line that we kind of felt like we'd be comfortable moving him up should we need to do that in case of injuries. I'm not so sure any of the guys that we have now. I mean, maybe Nosek could fill in somewhere if we absolutely had to have somebody. But and Maurice has talked about Lockwood having some upside, so there's that. But we got a ton of fourth line guys. If we have any major injury issues in the top 9, there's nobody that really stands out on the fourth line guy that we say just move him up and we'll be fine. So it's a very, very, very minor concern. But should injuries happen, it could become something if it's later on during the season. Then it gets to the defense. And you got Forsling, Ekblad. I have to get used to saying that in the appropriate order. Forsling, Ekblad. My assumption, feeling, gut thought, kind of think, wouldn't place money on this, is Schmidt with Mikkola. And then, what do you want? You want Balinskis, Kulikov, right? Boquist is in the mix, okay? Balinskis is still here. Barnfoot is still here. We got a lot of guys that I think defensively we're a little bit better in the sense that there's numerous guys I think that if we needed to move them up to the second pair, we'd be okay. I'm not saying it's permanently, but if Balinskis or Kulikov had to play next to Mikkola or Schmidt in case somebody got hurt or something like that, I think we'd feel comfortable. I feel really comfortable with the defensive guys. So, let's see. We still basically have a championship caliber top 9. The fourth line guys, it wouldn't matter if I didn't know the names. It wouldn't matter if the names were Peter, Paul, and Mary. If Zito picked them, I have faith that they're going to work out. And that's it. That's it. I'm not going to sit here and nitpick which guy and this guy and can this guy. Nah. If Zito says they're good enough, they're good enough. That's how I'm going to look at the fourth line guys. The defense, we're good. We're good, right? When you're not sure if Kulikov is going to be 60, 70, I don't know. We don't know. But when the dude that saved the goal and started the rush on the Stanley Cup final winning goal, if you're not sure if he's going to be in your top 6, you're in good shape. You're in good shape. So, what's left? Goaltending. Now, it's all over again. What was that, 2019, 2020? Whatever it is, it's Bob, Spencer Knight, and Drieger all over again. Now, we know the way that this is supposed to go. It's Bob's net. Knight should be the backup. Drieger is going to start at the AHL. But it is same 3 guys again. I've been talking a lot on the podcast about how I think key to this thing is Spencer Knight. And to some extent, it is. But the key to Spencer Knight is Bobrovsky. And I'll tell you what I mean. In the previous iteration of this lineup, as there's a bee flying around the room, in the previous iteration of this goalie lineup, Bob was not playing real well. There's a lot of questions around, should we give the net to Spencer Knight? Should we? Should we? Maybe? No? Yes? No? In? Out? Keep on dancing? Keep on moving? You're in? You're out? You're down? You're up? So I can't really blame Spencer Knight for kind of having his head on a swivel and being like, I think I'm going to go to the NHL Player Assistance Program until you guys figure your shit out. Am I the goalie or am I not the goalie? So there's that. Now, That was when Bob was, he was sporting some not so fantastic numbers, and Spencer and I would come in and have a good 5 games, and we'd all be like, I guess the torch is passed, right? I guess Spencer Knight is the guy now. And then the coach and everybody was saying, no, Spencer, come on, sit back down. All right, Bob, go ahead, go back out there. And that happened enough. Now, which is why I say the key for Spencer Knight this year is Bob needs to continue to be Bubba Brewski. Okay, there was Bobrovsky, then there was Bob, who wouldn't close his legs, and now there's Bubba Brewski, who has won a Stanley Cup. As long as he remains and plays at the level he's been playing at, Spencer Knight can comfortably and confidently know what his job is. Every 3 to 5 games, go out there, give the old man a break, give us a chance to win a game. Nice, you did well, we won, now get your ass back to the bench. It's not your job yet, kid. That sounds a little bit harsh, but I think that that's what he needs to be focused on tunnel vision-wise. Just like last year in the AHL level, they wanted to give him a full season of, you are the man, it is your job, you are the starter, go. Now, they need to be, and they should be, right? There shouldn't really be any question now. But now, they need to be completely direct and be like, Bob's net, you're the backup. I don't care if Bob has a bad couple of games, and then you come in and pitch a shutout, his ass is still going back to the bench. Don't get confused. Stay in your lane. So, as long as Bubba Brewski continues to play at the elite level he has, especially last year, and Spencer Knight can be what Alex Lyon and Anthony Stolarz were for us, the goaltending is good. So, let's see now. We have a championship caliber top 9. We've got depth for miles in the 4th line. We've got depth for miles on the defensive end. And again, in terms of the players that have replaced OEL, okay, and Montour on the defensive side of things, if Zito says they're good enough, you follow what I'm saying? Okay, so the forward group is still intact. The defense, I have no concerns whatsoever with the system in place. It's the 3rd year in the system. Yeah, there's a couple of new guys, but they're veterans. I look at all of that, and then I think, well, if there's a problem, if Samoskevich can't quite cut it, or if there's an injury issue, all we have is the best GM in the league in terms of picking guys up to fill spots and holes that might occur. Now, I know he has not won the GM of the Year award, but that's because they say, oh, well, his drafting's not good enough. Well, his drafting is fine. Lundell's his first pick. On any other team, not any other team, on a lot of teams last year, Samoskevich makes the team and starts developing, maybe even Sorda. Okay? I'm not worried about Bill Zito's drafting. The problem is he's so good at picking guys up off the street like Gustav Forsling, that you don't really have to have the rookies that we've drafted start developing at a quicker pace. You haven't really had that need. So should the need arise at the trade deadline, or should an injury happen or something like that, I have every confidence in the world that Zito is just going to kind of sit back and be like, boop, press the right button, dude comes in, and there it is. So, okay, so where that takes us all the way to is the Eastern Conference Finals again. That's where it takes us. Now, when you look at it that way, and then you think about what Maurice has been saying these last couple of days, he has pounded home the same exact point over the last 2 or 3 days. These guys are in better shape than they were at the beginning of last season. Now, at the beginning of last season, they had just lost the cup. They were all beat to shit, right? And they came into camp. They had just lost the cup. And if there was going to be a dip in production, if there was going to be a moment where these guys' bodies and minds said, man, I don't know, we could do this, and it is a lot, that would have happened last year. Look at what happened to Colorado. Look what happened to Vegas. All right, look at what happened to the Capitals. You can list out example over example, of teams that either win or just lost, and they got all the injuries, and they played all that hockey, and then the next year is not so good. And then we won the damn cup instead. And now, what Maurice is telling us is, by the measurements that they use in the first practices of training camp, that the guys that won the cup last year and lost the cup previous season, and have been to 2 Stanley Cup finals in a row, that those dudes are in better shape now than they were at the beginning of either one of the other seasons. You got the coach, you got the GM, you got at least one goalie, and if Spencer Knight continues to be what we think he can be, we got 2. We got depth for miles. We're winning the cup again. That's the season prediction. That's the season prediction. Now, does that guarantee we're going to win the cup? Obviously not. However, when I looked at all of the things, you look at it and in its entirety, there's nothing that you can sit there and go, well, that might stop us. That might, we got guys coming back from injury. No, right? Well, the backup goaltender. No, I think we have confidence in Spencer Knight. Bob's been healthy. He's not, we haven't done to Bob what Tampa Bay did to Vasilevsky with just play 11 games in a row, Bob. We're not doing that to him. We're not wearing him out. We obviously have the coach. The team's got the right attitude. They're hungry. They're like, that tasted good. I want another cheeseburger. Right? I can't look at the roster. The coaching staff, the GM, the situation, the momentum, the health of the team, the conditioning. There's nothing I can look at that says, I think that might give me pause. So with the absence of reason to say I don't think they'll win the cup, I say I think they're going to win it again. That's all I can say. I think they're going to win the damn thing again. And this year, by the way, I'm not kidding about this. All right? I don't know how. I don't know who. I don't know when. I don't know what. I don't know. But I know, damn it, I'm not going to have any dying dogs in the last 3 weeks of the season this year. So they win that damn cup again. Somebody from that team is coming here to this house, to the graves of those 3 dogs, and I'm getting a picture with the cup and Kyle too, and the dogs. That's happening. If I got to pound that point every stinking day. Oh, and also the other thing is happening. Hit that subscribe button. Do me a favor. Let's get to 10,000, huh? We've been hovering under 10,000 long enough. This is year 9. Let's at least start year 10 where we already hit 10,000 subscribers. So that's it. I almost jinxed it, but I didn't. I almost said I don't know what to tell you. But that's what I said the year that I predicted they were going to win the cup the first time, was I don't know what to tell you. Right now, the picture of where our team is and not really looking in depth at what other teams may or may not have done, I see no reason why they cannot win again. I know some people kind of think maybe the Rangers. Of course that could happen. That could definitely happen. I know some people think Nashville, some people think Dallas. That's fine. That's fine. But these guys now have proof of concept to the point where the first year they proved that they could do it, but they also learned not just what it took, but what they could not do during the regular season and still win. They learned. And that's what they implemented last year, which is like, okay, we're not going to beat the crap out of ourselves every game, but we are going to skate teams to death. And that's why we won. Again, I'll say it. Look at the last 5 minutes of Game 7. We're out there, we're like, it's all skate on a Saturday afternoon, and the Oilers are, here, you take the puck. I don't want it. We skated them into the ground. And everything that Maurice said, I mean, it sounds so hyperbolic and so cliche, but the man tells us everything we do is with the idea of Game 7, last game of the year, 5 minutes left in the game, we got to be the best conditioned team. And the son of a bitch did it, and we won the cup. And now these guys come back in better shape than they did at the start of last year. No disrespect to any other team, but I do believe that about June 20, whatever the hell it's going to be, hopefully we don't almost get reverse swept this time. But if that happens, that bee is going to come sting me. If it happens, and we have to win Game 7 again after getting a 3-game lead, I'm here to see it. You're here to see it. That's my prediction for this season. Now get it right this time, Pan. Don't make me look bad. This is the second time in 3 years I predicted this. Get it right this time. All right, you. Hey. Go outside. Get out of here. Hey, not my head, idiot. Go outside. The door's open. Go outside, dummy. Ugh. There you go. There you go. All right.